Hi everybody, it's me Liz with 143 Handmade. My dogs are a little fussy tonight, so you'll have to excuse that little bit of ruckus. I'm gonna do a share of something I did kind of as a mess make, but it is a little bit slow, so it's not something I can really do as a mess make on camera. So, these are altered paper clips, obviously, but the way that I did this, though, was different for me. I just took little scraps of fabric, and some of them I put a stamp on, and then I added the decorative buttons to. Some of them I just added the decorative buttons. One of the key elements of these, though, I will tell you, is that you do need to stitch right up here along the paper clip to do a slow stitch fabric paper clip, because you need to anchor that fabric so that way as you're sliding it onto the page, you know, it wants to bunch up some, and if you've secured it, then you know it keeps its shape better. So I made a whole bunch, like I said, some stamped, some not. I had a lot of fun doing these, laying them out and doing these in a few minutes here and there. I'm not even sure how many I'd made total. Let's see, that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I made 15 total, and I have another one set up here that we can make together. You can do them single layer. I did find that I liked them dual layer. This one's dual layered, and it's just a little bit, I don't know, it's not quite so flippy. And I tried putting the extra flap on the front. I don't really care for that, the way that it's pulling up, but I thought maybe once it's in a book that would settle down. Or I might go back and add a few stitches. I don't know, I hadn't decided yet. This one's also doubled up. I did find that I like the doubled up with this particular fabric, although this fabric is very, very thin. It's just, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's 100% cotton. It's just like a muslin of some sort. It tears really, really nice. And see, you can see, I get in frame really good. See, my stamp didn't even come out real good. I don't mind that. I'm just going to go ahead and go with it and not worry about it. But if that bothers you, you know, you can take a Sharpie marker and kind of fill it in. You can, you know, do all kinds of different things to make that better, if that bothers you. So, but one key thing I would say is just make sure that you're on a flat surface, because that was the problem there, is that I stamped it on top of other stuff, and so it got you know, it was all uneven. Okay, to sew on a button, or to do the slow stitching on these, I used double thread, and this is hand quilting thread, just because I happen to have some in this really pretty color that went with a bunch of what I was doing, and I'm not being able to tie this knot for some reason. There it goes. Okay. So I've already got it looped through the paper clip, but I will go ahead and show how I did that. So we'll go ahead and just take it off so you guys can see the whole process. So it's just a strip of fabric. I stamped on it, and then I'm just gonna feed it through. And you just need to get through in one little spot. Don't worry about it if it gets all, you know, crunkly or whatever. It doesn't matter, because once you get it down where you want it to go, you can straighten it out. Like I said, I found that I enjoyed really liked the weight of the double ones, the doubled over ones, so that's what I'm going to do. I also really enjoyed being messy with it, putting the messy stitches on the front, you know? I don't know, I found that very, very freeing. But to sew on these buttons, I'm just going to come through just the one layer. Actually, before I do that, I need to put my button in the corner so I can come up in the right spot. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that button there, flip it over, and come up through one of the holes. Just through the one layer, just to begin with, to put that knot in between the two layers. You totally don't have to do that. That one was a really big, bulky knot, so I went ahead and decided to hide it. And then you just go through a couple of times. This is double threaded, or, you know, or not double threaded. It has, you know, Yeah, double threaded. Where it's got the 2 strands. So each time you go through, it's twice that. And these are little paper clips, you know, these are not, I'm not building something that, you know, a kid's gonna be out playing, you know, clothing that a kid's gonna be out playing in. So, let's see. I had this all laid out. I think I was supposed to put that white one in the other corner. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to go with it and put it like this. And that covers up most of that butterfly wing. Anyways, that's a little distorted. So, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. So right there. And see, I'm just going through both layers now. I did that one twice, and now I'm just going to go ahead and come up and let that thread travel over. You do want to be careful not to pull too tight, because you can bunch it up. But I'm going to go ahead and just pull it on over and stick my needle on through there. And again, make sure I'm not bunching it too tight. And go through that one twice. Oops, caught on the side of the fabric. There we go. And then I'm actually going to just come back down here to this white one and put one loop through there instead of traveling over this direction. I'll just do it that way. Get it where I want it, or where it wants to be, whichever one works. There we go. Hold it all taut. There we go. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and take my thread and bring it up over here close to the edge, and just do a whip stitch. Or no, excuse me, not a whip stitch. A whip stitch is around the edge, but just the basic running stitch. I'm sorry, I'm not good with the names. I have been sewing forever. My grandma taught me to sew when I was just a little bitty thing. She tried with the sewing machine. That's a whole nother involved story, but the hand sewing stuck pretty good though. But sewing machine wise, I just, within the last 10 years or so, have really made friends with my sewing machine. Okay, I don't want that thread to loop my button. There we go. And then, so see, there's my running stitch that comes all the way up here. You might be able to hear my son come in the door. He was out feeding our ponies. So, and then I am gonna do a whip stitch around the paper clip. And to make it a little easier, once you have that first one set, flip it over like this. And for this section where you don't have this little bit to worry about, you can just roll it off to the side and just do your regular whip stitch, and you don't really have to worry about anything. Doing anything different or anything like that. And then, see, I'm running out of thread. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just knot this one off. So I'm just going to go through here into just a single layer in between, pull it through, and I'm actually not going to worry about knotting it. I'm just going to do that because I'm going to start the next one right there and grab it in that whip stitch, and that will secure it. So I need some more thread though. But I would rather get more thread out than be working with these, really, really long piece of thread. I have found that I like the results better when I work with the shorter piece of thread. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is that the thread does not get as worn, because every time that thread passes through the fabric, it is, it's wearing on that thread. And it can look quite raggedy if you have a very long piece. Not so much with this hand quilting thread, it's coated with something that really prevents that, but like embroidery floss, it can look, it can get to looking very, very shabby if you have too long of a piece. So I'm just making a knot here at the end, and there's, you know, a ton of different ways you can make a knot. So just whatever works for you. Make it bulky so it won't pull through. It doesn't have to be pretty. Okay, and then now I'm going to go ahead and stick my needle through all my layers. Or not all my layers, but in between the layers, just like where I came out, only I'm going to come up through the back. Let's see, I think it was still in frame. But I'm going to come up through the back like so, to bury that knot between the two layers. Okay, now you can still hold the, let me get the needle in the right position. It needs to come through the paper clip to come to the front. So you can still hold the paper clip down like this, like I was showing you before. Some people might find it easier. Actually, I think I might find it easier. I was doing them to the back, but really to the front would work just as good, if not better. Because with it to the front, you can just stick your needle right there. You know, it's funny, you know, isn't that funny how you think you have it all figured out, and then you figure out a better way. But yeah, see, so by holding it like so, and just slipping the needle through, you can get a nice secure whip stitch, just right around the one layer of the paper clip, if you know what I mean. The one wire, I guess would be the right word. Instead of, because you don't want to catch this one, because if you wrap that one too, then you won't be able to slide it onto a paper. It won't be a functional paper clip anymore. I want these to be functional. But, you know, if you do that, you know, you can always glue it onto something. It doesn't have to stay a functional paper clip, especially if you've gone and put a lot of effort into it, you know, and really got that really whip stitch, and you just do not want to undo it. Who says you have to? Who says you have to use a paper clip that way? As a paper clip? Who says you can't glue it down? Glue it to a page. Why not? So, here we go. I'm over here to this other side. And now what I'm going to start doing is, okay, I'm going to come up to the front. Just because I like doing my running stitch from the front, but it's totally your call. If you like doing your running stitch from the back, that's totally doable. You can do any stitch you want here. I just really like the frayed edge with the running stitch right here along the to hold the two layers together. And I just hold the needle and I just fold the fabric onto the needle, and I kind of use my thumbnail there to kind of push it on from the front, and on the back I kind of do the same thing with my finger. So, and I like to work with needles that are sharp enough to do the job, but aren't particularly sharp. I really don't like pricking my fingers on needles. I really don't like it. That's why I like almost never use pens, and why I will never be a precision sewist. I'm okay with that. So, and you can scrunch that together if you want to. I don't want it too pulled together, but I don't mind it, you know, being a little bit. And then I'm just going to come across this bottom here, like so. You might hear the puppy barking a little bit. She's upset because she can hear me out here talking, and she wants to be out here with me, not in bed. And my son's outside with the ponies, and she's just like a little kid. I don't want to go to bed until everybody else is in bed. That's all it is. She's totally fine. So, oops, I somehow caught that thread. Let's see, is that the way to undo it? Oh, I'm just tying a knot. Here we go. Okay, I got it untied. Okay. So, let's see. I'm good. I want to go ahead and add another stitch. I think I want to add another stitch behind this button, just to help secure that corner. There we go. And then just here on the back, we'll run it under and knot it. So I don't mind if a knot or two is visible. I know I buried the others. I'm just so used to burying them that's my first instinct, but I'm really trying to embrace this whole messy stitching thing and start letting the knots show. So there we go. So a super cute little altered paper clip. So they really, you know, I'm not sure how long that one took me. About 15 minutes. It wouldn't have taken me that long if I wasn't in front of the camera. I really hope I was staying in frame and not pulling it too close to my face. I will double check that, and do another one if needed. But these really didn't take that long, about 10 minutes each. The ones that, you know, only had a couple of buttons on them, like this one that only had the one button on it, that one was much quicker, you know. And you know how it is, once you get in the groove of doing some slow stitching, you can do quite a bit fairly quickly. So thank you so much for joining me today, and don't forget about my June junk journal release and my Etsy shop and my subscriber giveaway that is current in July of 2023. Don't forget to go look at that video and enter that contest. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you are inspired to grab some little bits of fabric and just a few thread and some buttons, just a little bit of thread, and have yourself a good old time altering some paper clips.